Conor McGregor. We're still awaiting his return, however, in 2020. He would write underneath a Trump tweet the following message. Phenomenal president, quite possibly the USA GOAT, most certainly one of them anyway, as he sits atop the soldiers of many amazing giants that came before him. No easy feat. Early stages of term also incredible. Congrats and happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day, America. From the Hill, the tweet was responding to a Trump tweet earlier that day that was celebrating his 3 years in office while touting low unemployment numbers for African Americans. In recognizing Martin Luther King Jr. Day, racism watchdog would weigh in as well. On November 5th of 2020, McGregor posted a religious-based tweet on the platform. It came at a time when Trump was destined to lose the White House, which he did. After the events, though, that took place in Butler, Pennsylvania, McGregor would weigh in once again. A 78-year-old multiple billionaire. He should have been on a yacht on the Mediterranean touring golf courses, but he is not. He is in Pennsylvania spitting out bullets, running for the love of his country. Godspeed, Donald. God bless the United States. His opponent, that should have been Michael Chandler, co-signed the message on Twitter, a rarity between the two. Yet it is the former president who apparently ticked off the Irishman after Trump's debacle of a performance on Aiden Ross's stream. A man who went on the record, more so boy, blaming Joe Biden for abortion laws being wiped away and does not know who Benito Mussolini is, nor can he pronounce the name and term fascist, like the guy he sat next to. Trump stated Khabib Nurmagomedov is his favorite UFC fighter. McGregor, to put it lightly, was tweeting his rage, because that's what those messages were. Here are some. He would tweet and delete this note: campaign-ending decision, a smelly fat mountain monkey from the inbred mountains of Dagestan is your favorite UFC American company fighter. Wow, abysmal. In another tweet he would delete, he featured a photo of Khabib and captioned it, Trump's favorite fighter. Here he is in a tiny tub with his fellow inbred pals in Dagestan. Can you spot him? Where's Khabib? Find Khabib. Another would read, hey guys, why couldn't Khabib's dad gain entry to America ever? What was the issue there? He was never allowed access, and now you hear all what is taking place currently. The tease from their gym gunned down while in the middle of inflicting a terror attack in their own country, with Khabib then subsequently fleeing the country after their gym and homes were raided and reposed, leaving behind his wife, kids, family, mother in the process, the whole lot. It makes you wonder, before the death of Khabib's father via COVID-19, why was he always refused entry into the U.S.? This was insane. It was low. And there was more. I was actually wrong. Couple $100 million he is worth, not multi-B. I would have thought USA only would be the mentality here, and what I would want to see out of my president personally. To pick a retired inbred fighter from Dagestan, Russia, who has 3 main events only to his name is astounding. Overall, the American fighters that have backed him, it's a shocking decision. He was caught on the spot. That won't go unnoticed on the roster. The presidential race is very tight right now, more so now. So clearly, Conor is still really upset that he lost this fight, that he tapped out to Khabib. Chandler would reply, stop it, Conor. If you had half the balls that Donald Trump had, you would have shown up June 29th. Instead, you're normal walking, beer-chugging, Austin 316 style at a local fight show / motorcycle rally in South Dakota, a red 100% MAGA state, by the way. Conor has certainly fallen off the deep end. We do know this. But it also comes on the heels of McGregor fanning the flames of the anti-immigration rhetoric used by conservatives like Donald Trump to score cheap political points. And it's not just even in the United States. It's in England, as we have seen with the far right, and it is in Ireland and many other places. wonder McGregor has become a darling of the far right with messages such as these. Via The Guardian, McGregor posted on November 22nd to over 10 million followers in response to a report that non-nationals could vote in local elections, what you see on your screens. CNN spoke with a senior analyst with the Institute for Strategic Dialogue, a think tank that researches online hate and disinformation. They would say, the far right are promoting Conor McGregor as the voice of the people, taking advantage of his platforms to boost their ideology, adding that they believe McGregor's tweets in the lead up to the riot were a call to action against illegal immigration. When the riots persisted, McGregor took to Twitter once more, writing the following: "You reap what you sow." I'll share my thoughts for the end. Elon Musk, a man who values free speech so much that he cancels the accounts of leftist progressives and sometimes liberals, endorsed McGregor if he ran for office. Via CNN, political analysts and far-right experts have told the outlet that Conor McGregor's unique brand of Irish patriotism that won him supporters when he was a professional fighter, he still is, of course, but made his name previously, has mutated into a strand of far-right Irish nationalism. Some politicians, though, rightfully are speaking up and have had enough.
All the while, you have celebrity people like this Conor McGregor, Gobda. You have people in this chamber who will use the word criminality and immigration in the same sentence as often as they can to get some cheap political gain for themselves. Yes, I am talking about rural independence. I am talking about members of the Shannon who do the exact same thing. For the love of God, would they realise that some things are more important than them winning their bloody seats?
He would tweet and delete in another post, which is kind of a theme of his. People of the community are told who these men are or why they are here. This is what I mean when I say we are at war. You cannot expect the people of Ireland to tolerate this. We will not. Another would read, do not let any Irish property be took over unannounced. Evaporate said property. It's a war. You know who would support some of this stuff? The worst of society. InfoWars' Alex Jones weighed in on it to support Conor, as would libs of TikTok. Chaya Raichik, white supremacist Nick Fuentes, would say on his show that he supported McGregor's rhetoric, telling those of the far right in Ireland to, quote, rise up. What does he mean by rise up? You know what he means. From Wired, McGregor, Fuentes said, needed to salvage the country because it's either going to be the Irish or it's going to be the blacks, his words. Only one side is going to come out of this alive. This is what they want. They want this so badly. There would be more support from McGregor. I stand with the people of the East Wall, he wrote in a since-deleted tweet. This was a reference to protests which started in Dublin's East Wall district in November 2022 over plans to house refugees in a disused office block. So no one is vacating. No one is there. It's empty. And people still have a problem with it. McGregor's tweet was then circulated widely in Telegram channels with a ton of links to, of course, the far right. And what do I mean by the support? There would be images such as these, making the waves, making the rounds within these circles as well, showing McGregor holding an AK and leading angry white men possessing the same firearm. But of course, all white, all having the flag behind them. It's sickening. One prominent anti-immigration influencer named Keith Woods posted one edit featuring McGregor's face. You see it right here. Attacking immigration, attacking migrants. That is their calling card these days. Woods has made appearances on Nick Fuentes' show, of course, and is followed by none other than, go ahead and say it, Conor McGregor. So, here is where I stand on a lot of this stuff, okay? If you are tweeting things, okay, and you are stoking, in my view, this hatred that is being circulated within the far right who go knees deep in hooliganism and are the ones protesting migrants, protesting immigrants, burning a Liverpool burning a historic library in Liverpool, going out in the streets of America, spouting things like they are the lesser, dehumanizing them not only with physicality, but also language that is violent. And you're doing this. And then you say next to nothing other than, I don't condone the riots, but then you keep going and you say it's war and you keep doubling down and tripling down. You know what you're doing. We all see what he's doing. So his support for Donald Trump is not surprising to me. The fact that he was under investigation for these tweets is not surprising to me. The saddest part is there's so many who align with what he is saying. We have gone over previously, check it out on demand, how mixed martial arts has served as a pipeline to the far right. And this is just the most notable case with one Conor McGregor.
I returned home. Within 1 week, I went into my executive officer and I demanded to go back to Vietnam. I said, over there, I'm a man. Here, I'm a child. I had done all of that, 9 months, came back, and I could not drink a beer on Orange Avenue because I was under 21. I couldn't even vote for who sent me to Vietnam because voting was 21 then. I wasn't old enough. What did I learn from that? Gee, I guess we send children to war, don't we?
Jesse the Body Ventura, former wrestler, former governor of Minnesota, has weighed in. Recall this.
You and Hulk were once good friends.
Yeah.
What's the likelihood of that ever being repaired?
Never.
Why?
Can't trust him. And he's the one that ratted me to Vince when I tried to unionize. I found that out under federal deposition when Vince was put under sworn, and he didn't hesitate at all. And so I wanted to know who ratted me in the locker room because there were no agents, no one from the office was in there when I did it. So it had to be one of the boys. And when my attorney said, Mr. McMahon, has there ever been a union in wrestling? And Vince said, no. He said, has anyone ever tried to? And Vince said, well, I think Jesse Ventura spouted his mouth off about it once before. And my attorney said, did you hear Mr. Ventura? No. Well, then how do you know he did? With no hesitation, Vince went, Hulk Hogan told me. And I didn't show any emotion, but I almost tipped over in the chair because he was my friend.
When he tried to unionize wrestlers to prevent them from being exploited by Vince McMahon and fight for sensible working conditions, healthcare guarantees, and bigger cuts of the profits they were generating, Hulk Hogan went full scab and ratted to McMahon, selling out his colleagues for a fatter paycheck when he should have shown solidarity with the cause.
When we went to court, I saw in WrestleMania 3, Hogan got paid more than all of us combined. Now, why would he want a union when he's getting taken care of? He got more than Andre the Giant and all the rest of us combined. If there was a union, would that happen? No.
Aside from the obvious injustice of Ventura and his fellow wrestlers getting screwed out of tens of millions of dollars throughout their careers just so McMahon and his inner circle could line their pockets more, Hogan aiding in crushing this unionization effort set a horrible precedent for future generations as the WWE, just like the UFC, remains a non-unionized entity to this day, with wrestlers being forced to sign on as independent contractors. So the company can skirt all sorts of labor laws in favor of profit. A depraved businessman like Vince McMahon, whose business model relies on spectacle, dangerous stunts, and choreographed violence, would do anything to avoid providing health insurance, vacation time, paid childcare, paid parental leave, and other benefits to his talent, because it's much more difficult to become a billionaire when you have to split the pie and give the people who are generating the revenue their earned fair share of the fruits of their labor.
So with the power of Donald J. Trump and all the Trumpites running wild, America is going to get back on track. And like Donald J. Trump said, America is going to be great again. When they took a shot at my hero, and they tried to kill the next president of the United States. Enough was enough. And I said, let Trump-mania run wild, brother. Let Trump-mania rule again. Let Trump-mania make America great again.
Nothing encapsulates the Republican Party more than wildly cheering for a washed-up, deeply racist, union-busting celebrity campaigning for another washed-up, deeply racist union buster. Jesse the Body saw Hulk Hogan and the people he associated himself with for who they truly were decades ago. And in a rare move for Ventura, he recognized the threat they posed to the average American and decided to speak out when it mattered most.
Since leaving office, I've rarely endorsed a candidate for office in Minnesota of any political persuasion. But this election is too important. That's why I'm endorsing Governor Tim Walz for re-election.
In the lead up to the 2022 midterm elections, Ventura backed Kamala Harris's vice president running mate, Tim Walz, for re-election as governor of Minnesota, the same post Ventura held from 99 to 03.
Tim has proved he does what's right for Minnesota, not what is politically easy. I took an oath 50 years ago as a Navy SEAL to defend this country. I can't stand with anyone or any party who cannot condemn the January 6th insurrection. And now, women's rights are under attack across this country. Here in Minnesota, Tim is committed to standing up for the rights of women to access abortion and reproductive health care. Minnesota has long, proud history of having the highest voter participation in the country. We've got to keep that streak alive. So get out to the polls and cast your vote.
Again, whether you agree with Ventura's politics or not, Walz was clearly the best choice to benefit working-class Minnesotans and wasn't afraid of carrying out his agenda.
It is now law.
The Democrats should replay this clip of Walz signing a law that provides free breakfast and lunch to public school children over and over again to force them to come up with a reason to explain why feeding children is a bad thing. It's a slam dunk for the Dems to message around, and if there's anything Walz is the master of, it's effectively messaging and communicating.
How often in 100 days do you get to change the trajectory of the world? How often in 100 days do you get to do something that's going to impact generations to come? And how often in the world do you make that wake up afterwards and know that a black woman kicked his and sent him on the road? And you know that's something that guy's going to have to live with for the rest of his life.
We can't tell you how surprising and refreshing it is to see a national Dem like Walz use this kind of rhetoric and hit back at the Republicans with the vitriol and fight the Dems have been lacking for so long. And you could tell choosing him as VP is already paying off.
Walz's first executive order as governor was to create a diversity, equity, and inclusion council. He also supported open borders.
You know, he talks about this wall. I always say, let me know how high it is. If it's 25 feet, then I'll invest in the 30-foot ladder factory.
And he pushed socialism.
Don't ever shy away from our progressive values. One person's socialism is another person's neighborliness. Just do the damn work.
Oh, wait, and there's more. He signed an executive order protecting gender-affirming care or surgeries for minors in his state. And in 2020, he was the governor of Minnesota during the George Floyd riots that burned part of Minneapolis to the ground.
The Olympics, specifically her. This is Kim Yeji, a shooter from South Korea who has taken the internet completely by storm. As Del Walker wrote, Kim gives off main character energy. Who could possibly doubt it? Via CNN, Kim won silver at the 10-meter air pistol event, with her 19-year-old teammate taking the gold. Women posting W's would write, the most aura I have ever seen in an image. Let's detail her appeal, starting with what is over her eyes. Over her left eye is a small black rectangle, a blinder that blocks out one eye and allows greater focus in the other. Over her right eye was a small black circle, actually a relatively common bit of kit that features a mechanical iris to help avoid blurring and allows greater focus on the target. With her arm extended and head tilted down, she would fire her shot and barely react as it emerges. She set a new world record. She flips up her glasses lens to stare directly at the camera before glancing impassively at the nearby screen. That is very well written. A bit of background on the specs. The glasses consist of 3 parts. A lens fits over the shooter's dominant eye and adds a small diopter to their vision. Behind that is a mechanical iris that can be adjusted to change the perceived depth of field. Finally, there's a series of blinders, one for the non-dominant eye and one for each side of the shooter's peripheral vision. The clip that we all saw and where she set the world record was from the International Shooting Sport Federation World Cup in Azerbaijan this past May. After breaking the world record, she would say there's nothing to improve before heading to Paris, adding, "I don't feel any pressure at all. My confidence comes from a reason. It's confidence based on a foundation." Kim would compete clutching a small stuffed elephant in her back pocket, which according to the Olympics belongs to her daughter. She has 1 kid. A tweet that gained traction was from Airbagged. Hideo Kojima will be on a Zoom call with her within 30 days, which refers to the Japanese video game maestro who also recently linked up with Timothée Chalamet in Tokyo, Japan. Another tweet would read, "Underrated aspect of Kim's coolness is how she appears to seem about the whole thing. She looks like she knows she could do it in her sleep." GQ labeled Kim the first breakout style star of the 2024 games. True. Hilariously, one tweeter asked, "Why do we even have a Second Amendment?" Obviously here in the States, and posted a screenshot showing the United States behind Italy, Serbia, South Korea, and China. From Jason Faulkner, she currently resides in South Korea with 1 daughter. Kim is a full-time athlete and belongs to the Imsilgun County office shooting team. Her coach and her took up shooting in middle school, says rather that she took up shooting in middle school because she was curious about the sport. Supposedly, she was drawn to the precision and mental focus required in sharpshooting. She found a sense of calm and control in the sport that nothing else could possibly offer. The Athletic would add she's been competing since the year 2006. She won bronze at the 2010 World Junior Championships in the 10-meter air pistol. On her profile on the International Sports Shooting Federation website, under hobbies, she would simply list sleeping. Queen. The Daily Beast would even dedicate an entire article to her attire. To say she is an all-around is an understatement. Let me just conclude with this. There are many stories that come out of the Olympics that one will not be aware of going into it. And there are many who fly under the radar. And what this does is it shines a light on those underreported stories or those viral moments with a obviously new edition of social media. A lot of these events are going to be seen, heard, talked about, written about, interviewed, etc., etc. When I saw this, I could not believe what I was watching because all of it is just a 10 out of 10. The style, the shot, the reaction, the fact she set a world record, and just so cool about it. Like it's nothing. That's why we're celebrating it, because it is a moment that we will always remember. If you can and are willing, please become a paid member here at TYT Sports. And or go to tyt.com/join. In addition, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate it. Have a great day.